Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the late start there. I had a few things I had to tie up there. Sorry about that, but we're here now. We're broadcasting here on my YouTube, and we're on mybondtube.com. So you're more than welcome to join us on each one. And anytime if you see me broadcasting on multiple platforms, it's because I'm just taking extra precaution, because I know what I'm going to be talking about tonight, and I want to make sure that I'm prepared. I want to make sure we got a plan B in place. So we're going to give people a few minutes to get on here, just like many of y'all were patient enough to wait for me. I'll be patient. We're going to wait for our people to get on here, okay? So just going to give people just a few minutes here, and then we'll go ahead and begin, okay? Anyway, big shout out to everybody in the chat, of course. All right, again, good to see everybody here this evening. We're going to give people about another minute or so, and then we're going to go ahead and get started, okay? All right, almost starting time here. Well, good evening, family. Welcome again to another broadcast. And so glad to have you guys here. And thank you again for your patience as I was getting things ready for this evening. And I'm so glad that you guys can join us for another broadcast here on YouTube. And simultaneously, we're broadcasting over on mybondtube.com. And I tell you, I've been excited about this particular broadcast since 2 o'clock this morning, when right before I was going to bed, I came across a very interesting video that I'm going to show y'all. And it just made me too excited. And I said, I can't wait. I said, I'm definitely broadcasting this. I said, ain't no doubt I'm gonna show this to the people tonight. So yeah, so we're gonna see a video, but we're gonna get into, I gotta lay out some things too, and then we're gonna get to that video, and it's just gonna be very quick. It's gonna be stuff I've already talked about before, but yeah, this is gonna be really interesting here, what we're gonna be talking about tonight. But again, good to see everybody. I hope you had a wonderful week, and like I always say, if you're alive, you had a pretty good week. I don't care how bad everything else went, but you made it on the other side alive. So that's good. That's a good sign. Okay. So, just focus on that. I got to tell myself that a lot too. And sometimes your mind will already be on Monday. Oh, what's going to happen on Monday? We ain't there yet. Just focus on today and just be thankful for the moment. And you're around some very good people right now. So anyway, so good to see you guys here. Just a few reminders. Again, like I just said, we're broadcasting over on mybondtube.com. We created our own video platform. YouTube is good, and has been helpful. We ain't gonna, I'm not gonna diss it. And it's been very helpful, and helping regular people get the word out about whatever's on their mind. And it's been a platform. However, we do know that, YouTube has its own agenda ultimately. And we also know that absolutely nothing in this world is free, especially when it's coming from your oppressors. So they're always going to have their own agendas, even though there may be, it may seem like they're just handing you something for free. Always keep in mind that it is not your right. Okay. And, and it's not some, so if they take a channel down or whatever, that's just what it is, because you're on their plantation. You're on their plantation. This ain't your land. They digitize everything because it's a lot easier for them to own things and to call the shots on stuff. So as long as you got that perspective, that's what it is. So what we did was said, okay, fine. If that's the case, and that's how things are run, all right, well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to create our own platform. And that we did. So we went over and we created, and thanks in part to many of you as well, we went ahead and we created mybondtube.com. And this is a platform that we have where we have all kinds of documentaries, movies, news videos, teachings, all kinds of stuff here, all for us. I don't even know what the count is now. I mean, every day new things are being added to this wonderful page. And like I said, big shout out to those who support this platform and keep it moving. We really, really, really do appreciate it. And thank you so much. And on behalf of everyone else, because I know this definitely benefits a great number of our people, both here and abroad. So again, mybondtube.com, and this is where you'll be, if you ever want to catch some of these documentaries out here. In many cases, these documentaries have been banned, have been taken down or whatever, but we got them over here. We got all kinds of stuff over here. All right. And we have a special gift even for our people. Some of y'all who've been following me for a minute, and you may have heard me mention about a free library. Well, you can access it through here. All you got to do is do a search for the word gift, GIFT, and the video will come up. And that's all I'm going to tell you. Do not ask me for a link. If I can't follow instructions, like I just told you, I can't help you. And maybe you don't need the gift. Okay. Okay. So GIFT. That's all you got to do. Just do a search for that. and you'll find it. Okay, so as you can see, we got a lot of videos there. And, you also see videos of people that are on YouTube, that put out some good work as well. And you want to have a place to preserve that because, YouTube be snatching folks stuff down too. That it's like, man, that was a good video. And then next thing you know, they took it down. But we got a safe place. We got a safe haven for that, at least for now. So make sure, you check that out too when you get a chance. All right. All right. So we got that. I covered that. Also want to make mention of, sambatree.com. Sambatree.com. Make sure you check that out as well, family. We got, so as you know, we got the bulk situation up now where you can buy many of your favorite items now in bulk. And not just, you can just buy more of it. Nah, you can buy more of it for less. And I'm telling you, when I tell you we pushed and pushed to where we can, what's the most savings we can give our people? And that's what we did. I'm not lying to y'all. I'm telling you the truth. You don't be looking at me like that. For real. You talking about for real? Yeah, for real. And so, check all this out. We'll be adding some more things here as well, bulk items as well. But for now, this is what you have here. Sorrel flowers, for example, for those of you who like hibiscus tea, who you really like it like I do, well, you can, get that in bulk here. We got our bulk turmeric 50/50 pepper capsules. I'm going to tell you right now, I doubt if you're going to find anything like that around at all. At least I haven't heard of that. Okay, now I've heard of turmeric capsules where you got the turmeric and they add the pepper in it. But see what we do, okay, we add turmeric and 50/50 pepper. What's the difference? Well, the difference is it's pepper and it's also black seed on top of that. So you just getting a 1, 2, 3 punch with that. And now you can buy it in bulk. And then we got the shea butters and then got the oils and we got the whole dental care and all that stuff. Again, we believe in 100%. Our policy is 100% or at least close to it, and making sure that we're providing products that have ingredients that are close to as pure as possible. And we have been in a fortunate position where we can actually tell the people in some of these labs here, hey, listen, we do not want you to add that in there. No, that has not been a good move for us as a people. Can you take that out in your batch? Yeah, we'll do that. And the way you can't, it ain't just like a simple request. When they see, you bring, okay, all right, y'all been coming here for a minute, okay. Well, we gonna, okay. Well, that's how we got to do. We ain't got to protest or nothing like that. When they see we about business, they gonna do what they got to do. Because if they gonna start acting up, then guess what? We go somewhere else. It's just as simple as that. That's how business works. So thanks to you, again, we can go up in there and politely and kindly tell them or ask them, tell them whatever. Hey, listen, don't add that in there. I know you add that for other people, but don't add that for us. All right. That don't work for us. Okay. And they're like, okay, all right. All right, cool. We good? Yeah, we're good. All right, good then. But anyway, that's how you do. So thank you. Thank you again so much for that. And then we also got shockstock.art, not .com, .art. And make sure you check that out again. We're going to be adding some more packs on there as well. But you got, you can create your own stuff. If you got art projects, if you got projects for school, maybe you want to create something with the children, or maybe you want to create something or whatever, and you want some beautiful artwork that features black folks. Well, we got a whole lot of it right here. And from a wedding pack, a wedding theme. We got one that my favorite is Go West, Black Man and Black Woman, where we celebrate our people migrating out west, and the life that a lot of our people have built out there in the Great West. And that's something that's not talked about too often. So we did a pack for that. You got, I forgot how many images on here, but it's a lot of them. But I know the wedding you get, it's like 30 something. Yeah. Okay. If it's $9.98, it's probably like 30 something. Once you get to the man pack, the children pack, the woman pack, the couples pack, you're going to get 50 images in there, 50. All right. So you can get all of that. And then we got the gardening and the foraging pack. And so we got that. And we got you go over here to the book section, we got the coloring book that we created. And I tell you, I can't talk enough about this. I really love this because it gives us, it's now we want to take over the narrative that's out here. All of these forces that are out here that want to start casting their spells on our children, want to introduce all these crazy topics to our children and trying to sexualize them and all that kind of nonsense. We say, no, we ain't doing that over here. Not over here. No, we want to train our children to reach for the stars. And we're going to start as young enough. If they're young enough to hold up a crayon, then there we go. That's how we can start right there. And we got 50 images, or rather 50 pages here of characters that we created, and we put a backstory on each and every one of them. You got some characters that have that design cars, that's design airplanes. It's okay to dream about one day working for the man. Okay, that's okay. Ain't no shade on that. Okay, you get a job and you're doing your thing. Okay, that's fine. But doggone it, we need to start dreaming about building our own stuff. How about that? And so that's what we have. So we got inventors in here. We got pilots in here. We got folks up in here that are buying land, acres of land. We got folks up in here that design, have their own shops, that are foragers and all this. Anything we can think of, we said we're going to put it in there, but we're going to put our people, we want to portray our people in a position where they're actually feel like they fulfilling the dreams that they've had for a very long time. And we want to teach our children how to dream again. And so that's what we're doing with this coloring book here. $9.98, basically $10. I mean, you can't beat it. And not only that, it's a forever comic book, coloring book, meaning it's one that, okay, once they get through all the pages, okay, well, I'm tired. Okay, good. Go to bed. When you wake up, I'm going to print them out again, and then you can color them again. And then you can do it again and again and again and again. Okay, so it's that's how it's set up. All right. So yeah, that's our forever coloring book, and so we got that as well. Then we got our footage that we cover in there as well. We got royalty-free footage, royalty-free photos, and then we got our cards and accessories. So you got blank cards that we have in here. We're going to be adding more very, very soon. I just haven't had the time this week, but we're going to be adding a ton of them very, very soon. Some blank cards. You got different holidays or whatever coming up or whatever, and so just keep that in mind. So we're going to be putting a whole bunch of them up there. So alrighty. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get up out of here. And just wanted to cover all of that for you. And let's see here. What do we got? Where are we going to begin? So I covered all of that. I'm going to go ahead and turn this fan on, and then we're going to jump in. Okay, how about that? All right. And then we'll probably take a short commercial break because I want to play like this video that I'm going to play for you in a little bit later. That video is probably at least a half an hour long, and y'all are going to be engaged because y'all like drama. Our people love drama. Oh, no, I don't. Yes, you do. As long as you really not a part of it, you like watching it. So, and because I like watching it from a distance. Okay. Not all drama, but there's some drama. I love engaging conversations, not foolish conversations. Okay. If it's something that's just completely foolish and ain't doing nothing for me at all, you can just keep it moving. Okay. Keep it pushing. But if it's something that's really engaging, yeah, I like that. So I know y'all gonna like this. Well, I'm gonna play for y'all tonight. Okay. Let me turn this fan on right quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump right on in. Okay. Yeah, let me turn on them there. Well, how's the weather been in where many of y'all where you guys have been? Springtime here in up here in the Northeast. It's basically you have your days where it's warm and then it will get cold. Then you got the in between. You got all that. So you got all that going on right now, but it's still nonetheless. It's very exciting to see the trees are starting to flower and starting to bloom, and we got daffodils and all that stuff coming up. I mean, it's really wonderful to see here. Someone said we don't do holidays. Okay, all right. I'm saying if you wanted to send something to your family member, okay, if you wanted to send something nice, that's what I'm talking about, okay? But anyway, yeah, we'll have stuff for that, okay? But anyway, but yeah, but other than that, it's been a wonderful, wonderful week as far as the weather is concerned. I hope you guys are getting out there grounding. I hope you're getting out there and you're grounding, okay? That's very serious now. All right. Some of y'all been dealing with a lot of inflammation and things like that. And you see these videos that we put out talking about grounding. You're like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. I'm doing it. You need to do it. Or you're getting out there and you're putting your eyes on that sun, not directly in the sun. Don't be staring right directly at the sun. Okay. Don't do that. All right. But I'm going to do a video talking about sun gazing. Not praying to the sun for those out there that think I'm going there. Ain't nobody saying praying to no sun. I'm talking about the importance of getting sunlight in your eye. And we're going to talk about what that does to your body. Okay, we're going to talk about that. That's what I'm talking about. So we're going to get into that soon. Also, if you subscribe over to our Somber Tree YouTube page, I just uploaded a short video there and on our Facebook page as well, letting people know that I'm going to be doing a video soon talking about how to make your own colloidal silver. All right. We're going to talk about that and the importance of it and what the benefits of it. You can find that on YouTube. You got a lot of people that are talking about it. It can be very confusing as well, you know, because you got some people say, well, make it like this. And then you got people saying, make it like that or whatever. Then you got some people saying, don't make it at all. Only buy it from some. You know, so it's all over the place. So you know how we do. We're just going to lay the information out. This is how we do it. You don't have to do it the way we do it. We do it this way. It's worked for us. If it doesn't work for you, then find a middle ground between some other people out there. We don't care. We just want to put the information out and get our people to stop relying so much on this wicked, demonic pharmaceutical industry out here that want to charge you an arm and a leg for everything. You know, and just to find some basic relief and we can start making these things on our own, just like our ancestors did. All right. So, yeah. So we're going to talk about that. And it's cheap. It's cheap, y'all. Like when you get colloidal silver, I don't have anything here. But basically, colloidal silver, when you get it out of the store, you get them out of, you know, usually you're buying in little droppers, things like this. Right. And it's like. It's like $20-something like that. This little small thing. Well, we're going to teach you how you can make this amount. I told you, if you guys buy those bitters from us, you know, the bitters come in these bottles. That's why I said save these bottles, y'all. Save these bottles because this would, and you want the reason why amber is important. The amber bottles is because it keeps the it helps to preserve the contents in here, rather if you're dealing with colloidal silver or if you're dealing with oils or tinctures or things like that. This is a perfect bottle for that. And make sure you save these bottles. But anyway, so yeah, you imagine buying all of this. So if this amount in the store, this little amount, you see my fingers right there? If that amount, just that amount, that little tiny amount right there, if that's $20, how much you think this whole bottle would be? Crazy, right? Well, we ain't got to pay all that amount. We can make our own, and we're going to talk about step by step. And I'm going to actually try to break out my microscope because I want y'all to see what happens when you apply colloidal silver to bacteria. Oh yeah, we're going to get very scientific up in here, okay? I'm going to try to make it work here, okay? So anyway, that microscope back there, it ain't just for no decoration now. No, we're going to look at everything. All right, as much as we can. So anyway, big shout out again to everybody that's coming in the chat. So glad to see everybody. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into it tonight. All right, we're going to go ahead and I told y'all it's going to be a smoker tonight. And I tell you, the other day when y'all saw, I did a video where we talked about, I can't even remember the name of it. I can't remember the name of it. But we did a video where we talked about this LGBT agenda. All right. And basically pointing out the fact that just basically the destructiveness of it and what it really is and what it, you know, the impact and all that stuff, right? But I'm gonna tell you what I have been very encouraged to see the reaction, or the pushback, I should say, from our brothers and sisters on the continent and in the Caribbean. I tell you, it's been awesome to watch. And I'm going to show you just a collage, if you will, just a sampling of some of our people in different parts of the continent who have stood up against this stuff. But I'm going to go into the history because I want y'all to know. I want you to understand the history behind this. And when I say the history, I ain't talking about we're going to spend the next 2 hours talking about that. No, it ain't even that at all. I made it super, super simple. And it's very, very simple. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull this up for you. Okay, let me just begin the conversation with this here. Okay, let me pull this up here. Why is that even coming up? This is crazy. I tell you, Apple be trying to get me to, your iCloud is full. You're gonna have to upgrade now. You know, it's like, I ain't giving y'all all my stuff. No. Give y'all all my stuff. Anyway. So when we talk about this LGBT thing, see, like I always say, if you want to understand something, you got to go to its foundations. You got to go to all the way back to the beginning. And I want you to take a look at these following slides that I'm going to show you. All right. Let's take a look at these slides here. All right. So when you look at European spirituality, what you're looking at right now is these are European paintings or depictions of angels. Now, I want you to understand something. This is what was introduced to us in Africa. Okay, in Africa. And this angel, looks like this angel doing a devil. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, looking dusty and special in the eyes. Anyway, so when you look at these angels here, many of you have grown up and seen these, like in shows or paintings or whatever, right? And if you ever notice that these angels always look like they can go either way. Like it's always been like that. I'll be looking at these angels and I'm like, okay, are these women or are these men or what? Like, I can't tell. Like, for example, the one on the bottom right, that's supposed to be the angel Michael. And I'm like, nah, that's the angel Michelle. There ain't no Michael. That's Michelle right there. Yeah, that's supposed to be the angel Michael. Michael the Archangel. I did a search. I said, pull me up Michael the Archangel. And they gave me that. That's what came up. And so so when you look at their depiction of angels, it's always this figure that look like they can go either way. But we're supposed to and if you go to some of these European countries, like or in some of these old churches, you ain't even got to go to Europe. You can be over here in the United States and go in some of these old churches, and they got these angels looking all like they can go either way. And we supposed to be looking up there, it just look all holy and righteous. Nah, that thing look like he tranny or it tranny. I don't know what it is. I don't. Okay, so this is Greek. And then you got to look at this. Now, we could talk about this. Why is it that their depiction, like they always had this infatuation with babies, naked babies? Have you ever noticed that with cherubim? These are supposed to be the cherubim, the little babies, little baby angels. And they just love showing these naked babies with just nothing on, just butt naked with wings. That's it. And they never have black baby angels. You ever notice that? And I'm glad, you know what? I'm glad they don't. Leave us out of your equation. Leave us completely out of it. But they always have these naked angels, baby angels, even the baby angels, they have them just because that's what they're into. See, we look at it as, that's just how they depict or whatever. I'm trying to get you somewhere, family. I'm trying to drive something home to you. They've been telling us what they're about. These folks been telling us what they're about. Now, look at Roman culture. Hold on. Okay, look at Roman culture. Now, that's David. That's David, right? That's supposed to be David in the Bible. He butt naked. I never read any depiction of David running around butt naked. Ever. I don't have that version of the Bible. But this is a sculpture. And then, I had to cut it off. I wasn't going to show all that. I ain't trying to get your sisters all, and, well, we're going to have to pray for y'all at the end. But anyway, but yeah, I probably should have cut off more. But anyway, they got David butt naked. And then when you start looking at their other stuff too, then sometimes they'll have animals running around butt naked. And in some cases, they're having intercourse with, they're half animal and half human, and they'll have intercourse with other humans. All right. And then how about the Olympics? You know how they do the Olympics? Now think about it. Now the Olympics, when they were doing the Olympics back in the day, the Olympics, everybody was walking around butt naked. I mean, think about this for a second. Why would you have folks doing all kinds of sports and they ain't got no clothes on? Other than the fact that you just get a turn on that. Think about that for a second. And see what they taught us in school. I know they try to teach me this in school. Well, it's because they just saw the body as just a wonderful, beautiful piece of artwork. And that's why they always portrayed people as butt naked. Well, they say, in the nudes. No, y'all just got turned on. Y'all just a bunch of freaks. That's what that's about. Y'all just a bunch of 100% freaks. So let's just tell the whole truth on that. Ain't nothing about and they sometimes they try to do all the, the angles and all that, Leonardo, whatever his name, Da Vinci, when he was putting the bodies, if you look at the mathematical equation and then when he got to this and all that, they trying to get you all like, like you deep. Nah, you nasty, bruh. You nasty. Okay, so that's what all that was about. And so anyway, then you get into Roman culture, it was the same stuff. The same stuff. Always. Now, you look at this joint closely, it look like he got a beard. Oh, yeah, they get down like this. I mean, this ain't, all this stuff we're seeing today ain't new. And then I ain't going to get too much. I had to cut off some of this stuff, y'all. But basically, yeah, they let's just say they had a very vivid imagination when it came to, sex and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they were on some stuff, man, back then, for real. I mean, they would have some stuff. I'm just looking at it like, what y'all doing? Okay, now, so we looked at Greek culture, right? And I just took you and showed you Roman culture, right? I hope you're tracking with me. I really do. All right. Now we're going to go to right here. Not there. Here. What the Torah teaches us about gender fluidity and transgender justice. Okay, now some of this that's mentioned in here, I've actually talked about. Now, again, as I've said before, and I will continue to say it, it's a couple things. One, like it or not, these are the people that were behind, that handed your ancestors what you call today the Bible. All right. But let's take a look here. All right. Let's read it. The past is this post is adapted from Rabbi Meyer's Rosh Hashanah 5709 morning sermon. Okay, so let's go read this a little bit here. All right. For our Israelite ancestors, the most important festival of the year was Sukkot, and the most widely practiced ritual was the bringing of the first fruits to the temple in Jerusalem. The Talmud recalls for us this pageantry, the colorful parades, the music, and the feasting that lasted for 8 straight days and nights. An entire tractate of Talmud, in fact, is devoted to the laws and rituals of bringing the first fruits, detailing the ornamentation of the offerings and how the gifts would be offered by the men and women. During the course of this discussion, the text poses a question that many today might find quite stunning. While reviewing the differing obligations of men and women when it comes to the offering, the first fruits of Shavuot, the rabbis pondered and the circumstances for those who fall outside the normative identities of male and female. Here's how the discussion begins. An androgynous who presents both male and female physical traits is in some ways like men and in some ways like women. In some ways, they are like both men and women. In other ways, neither man or women. All right. So we're going to jump right here to this right here. From the beginning of our Torah, imaginings of the creation of humankind, gender diversity was part of the divine plan. Reread of the creation of humanity in the very first chapters of Genesis, that when God created the first human being, God said, "Let us make Adam in our image, after our likeness." Then we taught that God created Adam in his image. In the image of God, he created him. Both male and female, God created them. Now, what does this mean? Now, all of these years, now I've been saying this I've been repeating this a whole lot here as of late, because I want to make sure people hear it and understand this. And that is, when we read Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27, all up to this point, we were reading it basically like, okay, so that was basically a precursor to what he was going to do in chapter 2, right? Because in chapter 2, when we read in chapter 2, it talks about how when he said, God says, it's not good for man to be alone. So he basically put him to sleep and then took one of his ribs, and out of the rib he brought out a woman, right? He created a woman. That's what the text says. But so when we would read this passage here that's on your screen right now, we would read it in such a way where we thought it was just a precursor to what was going to happen in chapter 2. But according to them, again, when I say them, you may not agree with it. I certainly don't agree with it. I'm going to tell you that right out the top. But because these people are the ones that put together that book that you call the Bible, because again, you have no record in your household of your grandma, your great grandpa, your great 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 grandpa. You ain't got no record of any of that. What we do have record of is that once we got off that slave ship and they beat the hell out of us and raped us and did all that, then they said, we're going to give you the Bible. That's what we have record of. We didn't come over here with that. And so what they're saying in their extra books is that what this verse is saying is that when the Most High, when he created Adam, what they're saying is what that really means is that inside of Adam, one singular man, he put both a feminine and a masculine inside and packaged them inside of one person. This is out of Talmudic teachings and also out Kabbalah teachings, which is based on the Talmud, and it's in the Torah as well. So when you read this now, that's what it's saying. That's really what it's saying there. And in fact, and then more recently, they did an article it was in the New York Times. I pointed that out, where they talked about how, they just the same point here. All right. So they said, let's see. It goes on. I'm not going to get into this whole entire article, but what I will tell you is this. What they believe is that there's not just one gender. There's not two. Depending on which rabbi you listen to that has contributed to the Torah, the Talmud, it's anywhere between 7 and 9 different genders. That's that's their belief system. Since you're saying they don't know what they're talking about, but they came out, that's their book. The question is, do you know? I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm saying, do you know? They gave you that book. Do you have any record at all of your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents writing it down and saying, okay, now daughter, make sure you take care of this book now. Don't let them see it. Don't tell them where you got it from. Oh. No, they gave it to you. They got record after record after record after record of how they preserved these texts for numbers of years. We got YouTube and TikTok. I'm just trying to tell you. I know for some of you it's hard. I know this is hard, and I know it's very difficult. But see, we can't just simply claim somebody else's stuff just because. No, it don't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And what you believe does not, what I believe about, let's say, America isn't going to override how America operates. Do you understand what I'm saying? If America's evil, I can sit up here all day and say, God bless America. America's good. God is going to bless America. I can say that all day, and America's still going to say evil. So, yeah. So I would encourage you for y'all, if you haven't watched the series, because like I said, do not tonight start any kind of debates or long discussions in my chat tonight. Okay. If you have not watched our series, Who in the L Are You Following? I would encourage you to start there, because if you have not listened to that, I would really encourage you to do that, because that is what we do, is we go back and we look at the actual authors, the translators. We look at all of that. And we look at what these people actually believed. And we're looking at actual records. We're not just sitting up here saying, well, I don't believe that. I'm gonna rip that out. Nah, you don't do history like that. You got to take the good and the bad and all of the other stuff with it. And then from there, you got to reconcile with it. You understand what I'm saying? That's how it works. Just because you don't like it don't mean that it ain't true. You know what I'm saying? This is how it is. Anyway, so all of these people that I just shared with you, the Greeks, the Romans, and the Jews, when you look at these people here, all of these people are the ones that contributed to the Bible. The Greeks, the Romans, and the Jews. And when you look at, one of the best ways to learn about a culture is to look at their artwork. Now, when you go to African artwork, and I'm saying Africa, and for someone goes there, Africa is a continent. I understand it's not a country. I'm saying in general, broad terms, when you look at African artwork, and I'm going to exclude Egypt from that for a moment. The only reason is because Egypt is an exception to this, because Egypt is a place where you had Greek and Roman influence. All right. So you're going to see some of this perverted stuff in Egyptian artwork. Okay. So that's why I'm saying, with Egypt, we're going to leave Egypt off the table. But when you look at African artwork, you're not going to see hardly any of this stuff that I just shared with you. That says a whole lot. All right. So let me pull this up here. This is an article I found here. And it's talking about prehistoric African rock art. All right. Just going to skip through all of this. I'm just going to, read little parts and keep it moving. All right. The earliest known prehistoric, you know how to say prehistoric. See, it's language like this is that they try their best to keep Africa out of their historical we're living in their construct. I don't know if you understand that or not. And like I said, that's one of the things we talked about specifically when you talk about the Bible. When you look at where the Bible took place, when you look at the geography of the telling of the Bible and all these different places, even to the point where when you get into the New Testament, where Jesus said, go into all the world and preach the gospel, and you track where all the apostles went. Now one of them went down to South Africa. Now one of them went to Central Africa. Now one of them. But they were all in Europe and everything else, but they didn't go to South America. They didn't come over here to these other lands, but they stayed right over here in Europe. So these were very obedient people. And they did. They went to the world as they knew it. Anyway, I've been saying this, but anyway. But it's interesting how these people depict us. So I want just in this first sentence here, the earliest known prehistoric art of Africa. What the heck does that even mean? So what they're implying is that there was activity going on in Africa, but that was before history. That was before history. Whose history? Your history. I know some of y'all may be a little slow tonight, but one day you're going to get it. Because these are terms that a lot of us have read over and over again, and we just skip right over it. I'm trying to show you how this demonic matrix has put this kind of mindset put this in us to make us accept that somehow Africa had nothing to do with history. The earliest known prehistoric art of Africa, such as the Blombos cave engravings. Now, look at the date here. 70,000 BCE. 70,000 BCE. So this was way before Egypt. It's way before Egypt. But they want all of our attention on Egypt. I wonder why. Well, I'll tell you why. Because Egypt was the one place that they could conquer. All the other places they couldn't. So if it ain't anything outside of Egypt, we were just ignorant and dumb and we didn't know what to do. We just took rocks and that's how we talk. Anyway, let's go on. Then this is the eggshell engravings. 60,000 BCE, or the Apollo 11 cave stones. 25,500 to 23,500 BCE was probably the work. Now listen to this now. Was probably the work of yellow-skinned bushmen. See, they can't even give it. They gotta be. They yellow folks. They ain't no black folks. They yellow. In the deepest part of Africa, they yellow. Yellow. The Aboriginal peoples of Southern Africa. For a guide of symbols, use the Blombos. Please. Okay, they give you that. Bushmen are the oldest known natives of South Africa. Although exactly when they appeared and how far their history dates back remains a mystery. No, it don't. You just ain't trying to include them. It is not even certain if it was their ancestors who were responsible for the pictographs and petroglyphs. Now, we talked about these things here. See, what they try to tell you is that these petroglyphs and these pictographs, that these are just, oh, this is them going hunting. This is them getting a wife. This is them going. They try to make it very ignorant. Oh, look at these rocks. They just stacked them all together. But when you look at the rocks and when you actually look at them, they finding out, wait a minute, why are these rocks tracking all these stars up in the sky? They tracking all these different stars and all that. And as accurate here today as it was, according to them, not me, 70,000 years. Now, that's a watch I want to get, where you able to track all of that. But they try to make it seem as if your people, where you came from, they're just a bunch of ignorant folks. So anyway, let's continue. The Bushmen were driven back into the desert areas, not only by white men, of course, but also by the Hottentot invaders. The Hottentots were also a yellow-skinned race, so closely resembling the Bushmen that, according to some experts, it's inadvisable to separate them. There remains, however, an enormous difference between their artistic achievements. None of any consequence can be attributed to the Hottentots, but the old Bushmen have, to their credit, some of the finest and oldest art in the world at sites all over South Africa. I hope you're hearing what I'm saying, because this is considered what scientists consider is the cradle of mankind, where mankind was born. Now, they'll say Central South Africa is the cradle of mankind, but they will also say civilization began in Mesopotamia and Egypt. Notice the wording. Mankind began, the cradle of mankind began in Central South Africa, but civilization, man, in other words, man became civil only when he started heading up north where the white people were. The general character of Bushman rock art is naturalistic, and many of his images can be seen as pictographs in that they express ideas that and are not art for art's sake. The large majority of the figures are men and animals, but there are a few other objects which are probably symbolic, although their meaning is not always clear. In some regions, the pictures are painted in color. Elsewhere, only engravings or chippings occur. The difference is due to the natural conditions of the country, although it is generally assumed that the engravings are more archaic than paintings. Then it goes on. Okay, it just talks about what they depicted and all this stuff, if you can go through all of this. This is just a basic one website that I just found on the fly. But you can definitely go in and you can look at, like, I would encourage you to learn about the Nok people, N-O-K people. Some of y'all know about them. I mean, these folks were just way advanced. When you start getting into the Nigeria area, for example, we showed a video the other day where they were processing uranium. They found what they believe is the remains of a nuclear power plant in the Nigeria area. And they're like, how the heck did these people know how to do it? Of course, because they knew. Anyway, and it goes on here. So when you read about the artwork of Africa, even though you will find depictions of sexuality, meaning like maybe the relationship between a man and a woman, or maybe, it'll be the depiction of a woman, a woman that's nude, or it may be, and it's not, I won't even say it was really sexuality in many cases. There are some cases, if you look, you will find, there are depictions of intercourse, but not most of the time. It's not. It's just, this is the body, because guess what? The people used to walk around like that. Not all of them, but many of them did. And then, of course, the man, they would depict the man. So when you look at African artwork, what you're going to find is something completely different than what the people who came to Africa and presented you their spirituality, what they were about. Now that should wake you up. Now, it's the reason why I have to cover this, because it's going to help you to understand why our people are really pushing back on this. It ain't just because, well, we just black. This is rooted in a very deep and ancient history that many of our people have left and forgotten about, because we out here running and claiming we FBA, or we out here, no, we native to this land. We ain't from no Africa. Or we this, or we that. Everything but being from that continent. You don't have nothing to do with them. And by doing that, when you disconnect yourself from that, you make yourself easy prey for all of these other crazy belief systems that got you all over the place. So this is why I got to go through all of this. This is why I got to show you what the Romans actually believed. This is why I got to show you what the Greeks, what they were really about. This is why I got to show you Judaism, what Judaism actually teaches, because we got too many of our people out here today embracing Judaism and they don't even realize it. And I'm showing you with their own writings, and I've shown that in our series, they don't just believe in 2 genders, they believe in between 7 and 9 genders. So this is what we're dealing with out here. So now, fast forward to today. Now we have America that's out here. Let me pull this up here. Go my bookmarks here. Here we got the President of the United States putting this nonsense out here. Hold on, let me get this, slide this over here. Here's the President of the United States, Biden, putting this out. Right here. Transgender people deserve love, dignity, and respect. And then he goes on to say, let me see. On Transgender Day of Visibility, we want you to know that we see you just as you are, made in the image of God and deserving of dignity, respect, and support. We'll never stop working to create a world where you don't have to be brave by yourself. Let me focus on this sentence right here. Made in the image of God and deserving of dignity, respect, and support. Well, he's talking about the God of this land. So he's not lying when he says that. He's not lying about that at all. And what's amazing to me is that they put this out just days after one of the people of this group went up and shot up a whole school. And you may sit back and say, well, yeah, that is kind of crazy. Why would they do that? Because of what I'm explaining to you, because of what I'm telling you is that this system, a lot of people like to say, oh, you see them flashing those Illuminati signs. The Illuminati, Freemasonry, it's all based on Judaism. It's all based on that. This is why I tell people you need to stay far away, and you need to get far away from anything remotely that's connected to Judaism, including Judeo-Christianity. What did I say? Judeo-Christianity. And I would say this, and regardless if it's Judeo-Christianity, Hebrew, whatever, the common thread between those two, you may say, well, I ain't got nothing to do with them, but you're using the same manual. You're using the same manual. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You need to leave it all the way alone. All the way alone. I'm trying to tell you. All right. So anyway, with all that being said, so what's the next thing I want to go to? Then I'm going to start showing you these video clips, because I had to go through all that just so you can get the historical foundation and know what you really stand on, because what I'm sharing with you, what I'm telling you right now, it's been lost by many of us in the diaspora. You may look down on the people on the continent and, well, y'all don't have electricity and y'all ain't got this and y'all so backwards and this. You could do all of that all you want, but there's some foundational things that they're still connected to that I'm telling you right now, if it was not for these leaders, if it wasn't for these people, I'm not co-signing on everything that they're doing on that continent or these leaders, because a lot of these leaders are clicked into that stuff as well. But I'm not, so just so that I'm very clear with this, but this one issue that I'm telling you right now that these people are saying, that's a bridge too far. What I'm telling you is you better take note of that, because I'm telling you, if we don't have that, this is the end game right now. And let me just go to this video here. Did I download that? Hold on, let me see what I'm doing. Did I download it? Hold on. Because this is a video that I played before, but I want to play it again. What did I do with that video? Or was it on Insta? Hold on. Man, I have stuff all over the place here. Hold on. Let me play this video again. Oh, here it is. All right, here it is. I played this video before, but I'm going to play this again, because this system is based off of what I just shared with you, the Greeks, the Romans, and the Jewish. Okay? This system that you're in right now. And it's that system that is all over the continent of Africa. They got bases all over the place. Why? To enforce their agenda, which includes LGBT. Now, with that being said, now let me play for you this video here. Okay. And this is one I played before. Now, AFRICOM, again, that's the United States agenda in Africa, military agenda in Africa. And they appointed a black man over AFRICOM. When I say over, he's basically the manager. He ain't ultimately calling any shots, but he's basically the store manager for what's going on over there. All right. So I want you to listen to this exchange, because I played this before, but I want you to listen to it. All right. And then we'll come back on this.
Constituents that have been scattered across Africa on train and equip missions. So just ballpark, in the last decade, how many Africans has the United States military trained and equipped?
Congressman, I don't have that figure. I can get that figure for you.
Ballpark, just, how many?
Congressman, it would be a wild guess, right?
Seems like something we should know, right?
Over the years, we have trained a substantial number, especially in the Gulf of Guinea states, including
like more than 10,000.
It is more than 10,000.
More than 50,000.
I'd say we're reaching around 50,000
okay.
at least.
And what percentage of the people we've trained end up participating in insurrections or coups against their own government?
Very small number, Congressman. Very small number.
So what percentage do you think?
I'd say probably less than 1%.
But it does happen.
The IMET program is in force, and we've pushed a significant number through our schools across the.
Yeah, and what data sets do you track to arrive at the conclusion that less than 1% of the roughly 50,000 that we've trained have participated in coups? Because it'd be like about 500, about 1% of 50,000.
Congressman, you may have that information. I don't at this time, but I know.
Well, I know there are some, right? Like go ahead and throw up that image. This is Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, and this is a photo of him. Did we train and equip him in Guinea?
By name, I cannot identify that.
Well, that guy in the middle with the big red hat, Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, that's him with a bunch of U.S. service members outside of our embassy. And just months after this photo was taken in 2021, he led a coup in Guinea and threw out the leader. Does that concern you?
Congressman, core values is what we start off with in IMA programs.
Do we share core values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Core values. I will repeat that. Core values. Respect for humanity.
Do we share those values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Absolutely. In our curriculum.
He led a coup.
We do.
Okay, well, that's a very telling answer. In Burkina Faso, did we share core values with the leader that we trained there who led a coup?
It's in our curriculum. We
Leading
stress
coups
core
are in our
values.
curriculum?
We request civilian-led governance.
Wait, hold on. Is leading coups in our curriculum?
Absolutely not.
So
Civilian-led.
My question is, do we share core values with the coup leader in Burkina Faso who we trained?
Holistically, we teach core values with a respect for civilian governance, apolitical, and that's what sticks across a very high percentage in the 99 percentile.
Right? But not everybody. And I wonder how many people it takes to plan a coup. I mean, initially you didn't know how many we trained and equipped. Then you said it was 1%. You had no basis for that 1% number because there's no data set you track. Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record another U.S. trained soldier stages a coup in West Africa by The Intercept.
Without objection, so ordered.
And I further seek unanimous consent to enter into the record U.S. forces trained the Guinean colonel behind the recent coup in West African country, and this is regard to Guinea.
Without objection, so ordered.
So I guess the question is, why should U.S. taxpayers be paying to train people who then lead coups in Africa?
Congressman, our curriculum harvests core values and also to be able to embolden these countries for a representative democracy.
But General, that democracy isn't what emerges. The problem is, I know you may have great confidence in what you're teaching, but when two governments have been overthrown, I guess how many governments have to be overthrown by people we train before you sort of get the message that our core values might not be sticking with everyone? Is it 5 countries? 10?
We'll continue with our persistence in assuring
But do you think it's
that
working?
they harbor democratic norms, and democratic values.
Just a moment ago,
you
said we shared core values with Colonel Doumbouya. You said that just moments ago in response to my question, and his core value seems to be leading a coup. So I don't think it's stuck. I think we should at least know how many countries we train the coup plotters in. How many is too many? Because clearly 2 is not too many, and I think we could use our resources far more effectively than doing this.
So anyway, so I wanted you to see that again in case for those of you, because we played this the other day, because I wanted our people to see this again because, like someone said, he was set up. I mean, was it a setup or he just knowing? Some people just so dumb, they just walk in and stuff. They just so glad to take up a seat. Well, now I'm the first black person to, and they just so giddy and all that. Then they get thrown in situations like that. And I'm just like, I don't feel sorry for you, bro. I don't feel sorry for you at all. But anyway, so here we have a clear example to you and the American people and to the world for that matter, that the United States has been actively for years has been training coup after coup after coup after coup. Now, this is just the United States. That's not talking about France. We're not talking about some of these other European countries that have been doing this for numbers of years. And that if you don't push our agenda, then this is what we're going to do. We're going to overthrow you. There's a solid history of the United States doing that. If you don't push our agenda, then this is what we're going to do. So we got Kamala Harris over here now. And it's, and it never fails. You got the fan base of Kamala Harris. They're so excited. They're so happy, to see, we got her over there. And she ain't, okay, y'all, people still stuck on, anyway. But they so stuck on the symbolism of it. Like I saw this one video, they were like, well, she's, she shed a tear after going to the, to the slave castles or whatever. I don't care about that. But she, so anyway, so she's over here going over to Africa and telling them, President, well, we're going to give you $50 million to do this and that. But I also want to make sure that the LGBT are taken care of. See, that's the gotcha. That's the gotcha. That's what they're throwing up in there now. And so anyway, let me see if this is no, not that one. I'm trying to find the video here. Okay, here's the video here. Let me play this one. So she was over in Ghana recently. Now she's somewhere else now. All right, so let me play this video here, and let's take a listen to this.
Thank you both for taking the time. Zolan Kano-Youngs from the New York Times. Madam Vice President, you have made clear that the message of this trip is centered on a collaborative future. At the same time, the Biden administration committed to calling out any foreign government that advanced anti-gay legislation or violates human rights. All three of the countries that you are visiting on this trip have advanced or proposed anti-gay legislation. Ghana has proposed a bill that would imprison those that engage in same-sex intercourse. Gay sex remains a crime in Tanzania, and same-sex relationships are outlawed in Zambia. What have you said to the president and plan to say to other leaders on this trip about the crackdown on human rights? And for the president as well, you've talked about the proliferation of terrorist groups across the region, as well as pirate activities along the Western African coast. What does the presence of the Wagner Group say about past U.S. support when it comes to security? What more do you need from the United States to combat this threat? And also, can you confirm that Al-Qaeda has a presence currently in Ghana? Thank you.
I'll start. I have raised this issue, and let me be clear about where we stand. First of all, for the American press who are here, you know that a great deal of work in my career has been to address human rights issues, equality issues across the board, including as it relates to the LGBT community. And I feel very strongly about the importance of supporting the freedom and supporting and fighting for equality among all people, and that all people be treated equally. I will also say that this is an issue that we consider, and I consider, to be a human rights issue, and that will not change.
Yes. What's the name?
Sorry, Zolan Kano-Youngs of the New York Times.
Zolan Kano-Youngs. Ms. Young, so thank you for the question. First of all, we don't have any such legislation here in Ghana. A bill has been proposed to the Parliament of Ghana, which has all kinds of ramifications, which is now being considered by the Parliament. It hasn't been passed, so the statement that there is legislation in Ghana to that effect is not accurate. The bill is going through the Parliament. It's going through the Parliament. The Attorney General has found it necessary to speak to the committee about it regarding the constitutionality or otherwise of several of its provisions, and the Parliament is dealing with it. At the end of the process, I will come in. But in the meantime, the Parliament is dealing with it. And I have no doubt that the Parliament of Ghana will show, as it has done in the past, first of all, its sensitivity to human rights issues, as well as to the feelings of our population, and will come out with a responsible response to the proposed. The legislation was a legislation that is being provided as a private member's bill. This is not an official legislation of the government, but it is one that has been mooted by a handful of private members. So we will see what the final outcome of it. But my understanding from a recent discussion I had with the committee, the substantial elements of the bill have already been modified as a result of the intervention of the Attorney General. We will see what the final outcome will be, and that is the stage at which I will also have the opportunity to prevent.
Now, Ghana, I will just say this. Ghana has been, when you look at the history of it, they definitely have been anti-LGBT for the most part, but they are also, out of all the countries in the within the continent of Africa, Ghana is probably has one of the most closest relationships with the U.S. So, when you're listening to him, he's not not as straightforward with this, with the overall stance. With their overall stance when it comes to LGBT, you notice he ain't really just come out like some of these other countries did, but just looking at the history of the country, they aren't really for this at all. And he knows that, and everybody in that room knows that as well. That's why they're trying to get him to just say that you're with the United States. He's like, I ain't gonna say that. So he's doing a little political kind of lyrical acrobat stuff here going on here. Okay, so that's him. Okay, so let me move on here, and let me go back in history a little bit more here. Now, this is Obama. Again, your favorite president in the world. Some of y'all who voted for him and thought that he was Jesus himself. He was the fulfillment of prophecy. Let's take a listen to Obama and his agenda when it comes to, you know, gay rights. Oh, he's coming. This Prince of Africa, he's coming back, and he's going to unite us as a country. He's going to unite his people together. Oh, my goodness. This is Moses. I see it. I saw it. This is, well, let's take a listen. Let's listen to what this Moses had to say to Africa some years ago.
Of countries around the world. When you start treating people differently, not because of any harm they're doing anybody, but because they're different, that's the path whereby freedoms begin to erode. And bad things happen. And when a government gets in the habit of treating people differently, those habits can spread. If somebody is a law-abiding citizen who is going about their business and working in a job.
I can't take him. I'm sorry. Basically, let me just stop him there. Basically, he's over here wagging and telling these people, listen, y'all gonna need to get on board with this LGBT stuff. That's what he came over there. That's what he's been doing, is to get that. They told him, they pulled him back in that room and said, listen, you need to go over there and tell them they need to get on board with this. And it's, you know, so anyway, so we're just kind of going blasting through some of these. Just showing you quick video clips. Now, this was President Mugabe. This is going back, and this is a quick clip where he basically said this right in the UN. I want you to take a listen.
We equally reject attempts to prescribe new rights that are contrary to our values, norms, traditions, and beliefs. We are not gays. Cooperation and respect for each other will advance the cause of human rights worldwide. Confrontation, vilification, and double standards will not. Mr. President, self-determination and independence are intrinsic and fundamental rights that should be enjoyed by all peoples everywhere without distinction. We are deeply concerned by the continued denial of this basic right to the Sahrawi people. We urge the United Nations to expeditiously finalize what must be done to conclude the decolonization of the Western Sahara.
Boom. Next. These, you know, so, you know, anyway, let me go on here. Let's see here. Let's go to this one here. This was the President Kagame of Kenya. And let's take a listen to, this is going back, this is like 6 years ago. Let's take a listen to this here. And make no mistake about it, these people, these members of the press, they also be part with the CIA and all of that, because they'll ask these questions to try to put these people on the spot and all of that. But anyway, let's take a listen to this one.
Thank you. Mr. President, you were speaking about a modern Africa, and I'm here with the Bay Area Reporter, which is the LGBT newspaper. And for people who don't know what LGBT is, that's the gay and lesbian community. You see that shade? You see that? Well, for those who don't understand what LGBT is, that's lesbian. You see how that? Well, he gonna come back on that. Hold on. So I'm wondering, you've done so much for women in Rwanda, and they have so much power. I'm wondering, is the LGBT community a part of the future of Rwanda?
I don't know if I understood what you just asked, but I guess I understand. I have understood. But LGBT.
Homosexuality.
Yes.
He's a politician, man. He's like, wait a minute, help me to understand LGBT.
It hasn't been our problem. And we don't intend to make it a problem.
Well,
so we are struggling with all kinds of problems we have. And as I said earlier, we want to have everybody involved, participating. That means, as I said, being there for each other again is because we mind being supportive of each other, we mind the stability that comes with allowing people to live in harmony. And I think we've made good progress on that. So this far, since, as I said, that is not a big problem for us, I don't want to make it a problem.
period. Anyway, a couple more here, and then we're going to take a short break here, and then we'll get to, okay, now I played that one, and then we'll get to the main event tonight. All right. So, yeah, let me just play this. Now, this is your Pope here. This is your Pope. All right. So take a listen to him and what he's saying about this whole issue.
Ser homosexual no es un delito. Es una condición humana. Somos todos hijos de Dios. Y Dios nos quiere como estamos y con la fuerza que luchamos cada uno por nuestra dignidad. El ser homosexual no es un delito. No es un delito. Sí, pero es pecado. Bueno, primero, distingamos pecado por delito. Pero también es pecado la falta de caridad con el prójimo. ¿Y vos cómo andás? Y ser homosexual.
Well, of course you're going to say that because y'all done messed up thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of young men, you know, throughout centuries. Centuries y'all been doing this stuff. I ain't talking, what business you know would still be in business today if they just had a couple of people doing this stuff? Man, they got armies of priests that have been messing around with little boys for centuries. And of course you're going to sit up there and say, oh, it's not a problem. You know, it's not a sin at all because, hey, we're all, you know, we're all equal under, you know, whatever. Of course you're going to say that. Anyway, I have other videos too that I want to put. Let me just skip to this one more, and then I want to play this one here. Let me, now this was in the Zambia. Hold on. Okay, here, yeah, this is in Zambia. And this is more recent, okay? This is a recent video here. And let me put this up on the screen here. Right here. All right. Here we go.
We came here to deliver a letter to the Vice President of the United States of America. As you know, Kamala Harris is coming to Zambia. But from our point of view, we are not happy with her visit. And why we are not happy is because, you know, whilst America is talking about this democracy, they are talking about this democracy, but the American democracy has done more harm than good to a number of countries, especially the third world countries like Zambia. So we don't think that America can champion this democracy.
Well,
the democracy according to what we want. The Americans superimpose their democracy on us. They superimpose their democracy on us and their social culture as well as other values. We are saying we don't want American superimposition of democracy on Zambia. We as Zambians, though our democracy is young, but we can practice, we can self-rule ourselves. We don't need America to come and tell us how we should rule ourselves. We don't need America. America cannot come and teach us about democracy when their democracy has waged many wars throughout this world, hundreds of wars, and they have killed a number of leaders, African leaders. Some of the leaders that they have killed is like the Pan-African leader, Muammar Gaddafi. They killed him in cold blood using Libyan indoctrinated citizens. Americans gave arms to Libya so that they can kill their own leader. And they are saying that is democracy. How can that be democracy? Honestly, how can that be democracy? They went into Iraq. They killed Saddam Hussein in the...
Well, anyway, you know, he's giving them a history lesson, so I'm just trying to move on. But, you know, so I'm just showing you throughout the diaspora, there's people rising up against this stuff, and they're saying, nah, we ain't with that. Nah, you need to take a whole seat on that. Let me get to this this interview here. Hold on. This is the Zambian president. I do want to show this right quick. There we go. Not him, but you know, here we go.
The US is a big aid donor to Zambia, but the Zambian president said no amount of money could make him change his mind on homosexuality.
Right. Retraction or apology would do, but I don't know, to be honest with you, how far this matter will go. Because already you're tying it to aid. If that is how you're going to bring your aids, then I'm afraid the Western can leave us alone in our poverty, and we will continue scrounging and struggling and see how we can get going.
The president...
Good, that's what he's saying. Hey, listen, if that's how y'all, if, you know, you saying you want to give us aid, but we understand it's a trick bag. You know, y'all trying to slip all that other stuff in there. But when it comes to that, the LGBT agenda, we say, no, we see that. We see that. And so what I did was, so tonight so far, what we did was I had to lay kind of a foundation of where this ideology, where it actually comes from, you know, the people, exactly where it comes from, how it, and then contrast that with who we are as a people. And that when you look at your culture, you'll see that this was never, a part of your culture. When you look at the Zulu language, for example, I listened to one sister. She said there's not even a word for LGBT in the Zulu language. So this was never a part of our stuff. That's why when they talk about the Zulus and when they talk about some of these other African cultures that are ancient, they always refer to them as prehistoric because they want to keep them as far out of the of history as possible. But see, we ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? And so this natural pushback that we have here in the diaspora when it comes to this whole topic, I had to show you your history so you understood where it comes from. And also give a warning that you better be careful and you need to let go of some of this other stuff too, because some of this stuff that you're still holding on to, it's still tied into this mess. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take a short break. And in our final segment tonight, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you this video. Now, this video, you will be fully engaged in this one. All right. You'll be fully engaged in this one. I personally assure you on that. So give me just a moment or two here, and then we'll get that video up for you. Okay. right, we're back. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. So glad that have you guys here. Tomorrow, I don't think we're going to have a Samba teaching tomorrow. I have an appointment I got to be a part of, so I don't think we're going to have a Samba teaching tomorrow. We might have one on Sunday. Just keep your eyes on the community page, and I'll let you know exactly, if that's going to happen. But I got way too much going on right now, so just to let you know about that, okay? I think that was it on that one. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm going to play this video here. Now, last night, like I said, it was late. I was getting ready to go to bed, and I was just, I don't know if I think I was on, I was on TikTok, and I came across this video of the Bahamas. And I'm going to tell you, for my brothers and sisters that are in the Caribbean, you guys have probably the most engaging, realist talk shows, news talk shows. And I love when I get a chance watch. If I was to watch the news, like I don't watch the news here in the States. I just don't. I don't even watch. I can't stomach it. Even when they say, we're going to put some black people, I still can't stomach, because all they're doing is repeating what the people are telling them to say. But the people, but when I watch like Jamaica or the Bahamas or Barbados or whatever, man, y'all just be going in, man. And it's just, and y'all just be you just be real, and I really like that. At least the ones I've seen. I mean, you may have some other ones in the night. Anyway, but as you may know, as you may be very aware, the Caribbean is also, our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean are also being faced with this, where you have these colonial powers, that are still trying to put their knee in the back of these people and saying, hey, listen, now, we're trying to get this LGBT thing on and popping. We need to get it going on on your islands. And what these countries, these European countries, saying, now, if you don't do that now, we can tweak up your economy real quick now. That's what they, and that's what they're doing. But again, that same fight that you saw on the continent where people are like, nah, we ain't with that. You also see a lot of that in the Caribbean as well. And again, I want to reiterate one more time, based on the last segment we had, the historical part of it, is that this pushback, this is one thing I want you to understand. See, Christianity, what it did teach us, in the Bible, it's, what we were taught is basically there's one man and one woman and that's it, right? But we're also finding and discovering that they put some other stuff in there too. You know what I mean? That's kind of leaving the door open for some of these other discussions. All right. So again, if you're just coming in and you ready to get into the chat, before you respond to that, you're going to have to go all the way back to the beginning, okay, of that conversation. But what I'm trying to tell you, what I want you to understand is this feeling of pushback that you as an individual, black folks, have when it comes to this topic. It's not one that's rooted in Christianity. This is what I want you to understand. This thing goes a lot further back than Christianity. This is something that has been placed in you a long time ago by our Creator, the Most High. Do you understand? So I want you to understand that. So regardless of where you are in the diaspora, you're going to find that we kind of vibrate on this same vibe when it comes to this topic. And we're like, it's a whole no when it comes to that. And I wanted you to understand how far back that really goes. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put this video on. The conversation is extremely engaging. So if you got popcorn or whatever, please go ahead and get your popcorn. Okay. You're going to see me kind of fast forward a little bit till I can get to the point, and then I'm going to start playing it. Okay. So let me go ahead and pull this up on the screen here. And like I said, again, you'll see me fast forward a little bit, and then I'll get to the part where the conversation begins. Very engaging conversation, I must say.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's great to have you join us. We are brought to you by Alive. Well, as the transgender movement continues to spark debate around the world, particularly in many African countries, as well as certain European countries, back home here in the Bahamas Union of Teachers President, Belinda Wilson, says maybe it's time to introduce transgender education right here in the Bahamas. I will read what she had to say, but first, take a look at this video.
This is what I found in the library on Kauai, and it's really atrocious. These are just some of the few books I found. I mean, I couldn't bring them all from Kauai. This is one of them, What Makes a Baby. In this book, there is no babies anymore. There's no men, there's no woman. There's bodies with uterus and bodies with a sperm. They are removing the word man or woman. Red is for kindergartners. It's a book that's telling kids they could be on the wrong body. This is for 3 years old.
They could be in the wrong body.
In the wrong body. This is for 10 years old. 10 years old, you guys. It's perfectly normal.
Oh, isn't it crazy? It's
10 years old.
Whether it's heterosexual or homosexual,
I don't care. I don't care. This is not for a 10-year-old, you guys. Anybody has children here or cakey? This is not okay. Okay. This is gender queer. Sorry, you guys, but this is. I'm going to show it to everybody.
She's just
oral sex.
Yeah,
we have to be showing this kids section in the library, and this is in the schools. This is in the schools. Is this okay, you guys? I'm sorry. I'm a mom, your boys. This shouldn't be seen by little kids. So I know that the representative left, but please show them. This is what library.
Yeah, on
Public library.
Public library, wilding out here.
I know, and in public schools too, dear. And if you speak against this, you say, "Oh, you're anti-gay." I'm not anti-gay, but don't be showing porn to my kids.
You know, that mother, and that was a video taken from, because I spent the entire week last week, and before then as well, but just piecing together the show to start this discussion, because we're actually going to take it further than this. We're going to actually talk about, and not in this show, but the move to remove the Our Father from the Lord's Prayer. But let's just deal with today. That mother had every right to be very angry. I'm not a mother. I'm not a parent. But what is the motive? Forget adults making adult decisions, in my opinion. An adult can be whomever they want to be, whichever sexual orientation they choose. When I saw the book that woman showed to whomever she was talking to, those people in that video, why is it that kindergartens, primary school students need to be exposed to that? Why? It certainly appears to be an agenda. Matter of fact, it's wiping out genders. You heard her. There is no boy, no girl. There are some pictures in the book, and I don't want to be lewd, but there are some pictures, as you all saw it, a little boy with his pants down and another little boy in front of him. You all saw the picture. And this is what is being taught in libraries, in primary school classrooms around the United States. Many, many nations are now pushing back and resisting this. In fact, they are fed up, and in particular at the United States, saying, no, 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 you all have gone one step too far. In fact, many states in the United States are putting their feet down. I think Georgia did it last week sometime, Georgia or North Carolina, and the state of Florida. Which one is, you said, Cassius? Texas as well. Texas as well. We must save these children. Before, we screamed about children being over-sexualized and exposed too quickly just to traditional sex. Well, this here also is being exposed, unnecessarily so, to something that they, when they reach the age of 18 or 21, they have every right to make up their minds to do or explore whatever it is they want to do. In any event, I began this segment saying, Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson says, yes, it's time to teach that right there to our students, to introduce it to the classrooms. Why? I don't know. I know we may find out in this debate because we have varied views on this panel coming up in just a minute. But here's what Wilson had to say. I addressed, in fact, let me just preface this. She was the guest speaker at a Rotary Club meeting last week. This is where it came out from, and it went viral. I reached out to her and I said, is this accurate? And she says, yes, it is. I was asked a question at Rotary. I addressed a question that was asked by a Rotarian. I stand by my views. We should teach our children so that they can be prepared for life. They will leave home, they will travel to countries that have laws and policies on transgender, and they should be educated on the pros and cons of it. Well, maybe that's a valid point. I'm going to see what my guests have to say. And so welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Panelists, Cassia Stewart, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Netino Thompson, good evening to you.
Good
welcome
evening.
to the show. Gentlemen, you saw the video. I put that there really to kind of let people see what is being done and what the outrage is, not just in European countries that we're about to see in a minute, but even in the United States in certain pockets. So I put that there for you all to see. Then I presented what the BUT president, what her position is. Netino, I'm almost afraid to start with you. Just almost afraid. But Netino, your thoughts, and when and understand what I'm saying, and I was very clear, so I know it's very clear what I said. But let's go to Wilson's point. Is it doing our children, we're doing them a favor by exposing them to this at the primary school, junior, high school levels so that they are better prepared?
Okay, so I want to go back. Let's step back. So the video that you saw, I heard that's in Australia.
Okay.
All right?
Mm-hmm. But it's good that somebody in Australia also speaking up. Go ahead, yes.
But here's the issue, though. Inside Australia, same-sex marriage has been legal from 2017. Just checked it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, that being in a public library is well within I think the scope of the legal laws that pertain to Australia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me in particular, if we're going to be serious about this debate, that's not what's happening here in the Bahamas. We're not doing any of that.
No, but we could listen. Wait.
We're not doing any of that.
We're not doing that. But that is Australia, and that's great. It's Australia. In the United States and other places, there is a pushback. Let's deal with the United States, where it originated from. There's a pushback right now, Netino, from having these students being exposed to that kind of material in libraries where it's happening. It's happening right now. They are being read to and exposed to those books in libraries. And I'm not talking high school kids. I'm talking, as she said, kindergarten and also in primary schools.
Okay, so let's frame what's happening in the United States so that we could have this debate. Because the framing gets muddled and confuddled. The framing in the United States is that in Texas, they're banning drag performers from reading to kids. That's their whole aim and issue, right? They're saying that children being in contact with them is teaching them that transgender is okay, right? And that's also a political kind of ploy by Republicans to make this issue of being woke an issue. Because they're trying to push, they're saying that the people on the left are pushing quote unquote, an agenda. I want to say that there is no agenda. LGBT people, particularly trans people, are asking for their rights, the fullness of their rights.
It's almost like me. I want to have sex with a man, and I won't do that. I won't do that on a primary school table in grade 1, and I won't go and forget you all because I won't have sex. I won't spin around and swing from the chandeliers in front of him because that's my right. What right is that, Netino, of any LGBT queer person to want to go and be able to read to a student, to read to children? I'm talking even grown up. And those explicit pictures?
No,
what right is that?
But watch this. The books don't. In the United States, the books, they're just reading time in similar ways that you would have. In similar ways that you have a mother or father come in to read to the class. That's literally what the drag performers are doing, and these are drag performers. They're not necessarily transgender. I need to make this distinction. Drag is different from being transgender. Two different things. And so again, when we're framing this conversation, drag is separate from being transgender. Transgender is someone's gender, lived experience.
Yes.
You can take drag off and put drag on. It's a performance. All gender is a performance, really, right? When we get into the whole crux of this, gender is a performance. Man is a performance. You perform these repeated acts that affirm that this is the gender that you are.
Yes.
Right?
Cassius, Netino says, listen, hold up, Shani. Don't get ahead of yourself. These are not transgender people reading to kids or even exposing them to anything. These are people who are drag. People from the drag community are part of the LGBT umbrella who are going and reading to kids, etc. And this is what's going on.
Shanique, my pulse jumped to 115 beats a minute. So you know this conversation can be hot. First of all, let me deal with Belinda. Belinda is my friend, and I love Belinda. But I do not love Belinda more than I love my values and I love my children. Belinda, you are talking foolishness. And I think it's the time now you step down from head of the BUT, because if you're pushing the agenda of Satan, trust me, you introduce that to any school in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and see if there'll be any classrooms, any classes. See if there'll be any classes. Me and hundreds of Bahamians who are parents will fight you and fight anybody who pushes this agenda. Hold on. I let you talk, buddy. I let you talk. Okay, let me finish. This agenda is from the devil. Belinda, I thought you had more sense than that. Don't try to conform to what America is doing. You see America going to hell and you want to go to hell with her?
Cassius, here's what Belinda said. See, because I just want to be fair to Belinda. Belinda say, wait a minute, don't get too heated yet and emotional. Belinda says, we should teach our children so that they can be prepared for life.
For life of what? Listen, I teach my children every day, and I tell my children that when you go to university, you will have these people coming at you, but I want you to speak the truth to them. I don't want to introduce them to the foolishness for them to join in the crowd. Cassius. It's about teaching them truth.
Cassius,
and what that is not truth, and what Belinda is pushing is foolishness. Belinda, I thought you had more sense than that.
Cassius, Belinda said, see, you don't get it. Natino just said in Australia, and same-sex couples is a thing. It's no big deal. And then, so therefore,
also,
people
that was a public library.
I don't care if it's private times 10. People can go, whether they be transgender, whether they be drag, and read to these kids because Australia's laws may be different. Well, Belinda mentioned that. Belinda say when they go to certain countries, the laws and policies on transgender may be different. So our kids should be educated to be able to assimilate in those types of areas.
It's not even about assimilation. The duty of educators is to teach the entire truth. And the truth is that LGBTQ plus people have always existed. They've always existed in the Bahamas. They've existed in the world. This whole idea that the United States is pushing, the United States is not pushing anything.
But why are they?
The United States is not pushing.
I just want to ask, and I should.
There is no agenda because
foolishness. There's an agenda.
There is no agenda because this is my life. This is our lives.
If your agenda in the schools, right? Trying to teach young boys. Trying to teach young boys how to give another man a blowjob, and you want that in the schools?
There's no
Come on, man,
argument
that's
with
foolishness.
humanity.
No, stop.
There's no
you want to teach young boys how to wear panties, and you think I could be okay with that? Our little children can't understand English and math now. Why you want to teach them how to wear panties?
Listen,
no.
Let's look.
Not in the Bahamas. Not in the Bahamas.
What I'm going to do, I can let things calm down a little bit. Let's look at the video, Justin. The video with this growing opposition to this movement. 1 second. Play. Go ahead.
Family ties shall be based on marriage or the relationship between parents and children. To sum up, the mother is a woman, the father is a man, and leave our kids alone. Full stop, end of discussion.
We are saying no to homosexuality. Why should you say we're going to be civilized if we only allow it? Are you saying we are very primitive now because we are frowning upon homosexuality? Even animals don't do it. Why should we be forced to do it because we want to be seen to be smart, to be seen to be civilized and advanced and so on? A retraction or apology would do, but I don't know, to be honest with you, how far this matter will go. Because already you're tying it to aid. If that is how you're going to bring your aids, then I'm afraid the Western can leave us alone in our poverty, and we will continue scrounging and struggling and see how we can.
Well, there you have it. I wanted to bring as many views and what's happening, because remember, I'm talking about this, what appears to be a growing now opposition to what many of those leaders, you saw a European leader there and an African leader, and there are other African nations as well, where presidents are speaking out against what they feel is a woke West American-driven agenda, and they are saying no to it. They will not have it. Of course, why we are paying close attention to it. I didn't even, when I started this investigation some weeks ago, right, Cassius? Some weeks ago, if not a month ago, this was not a thought in terms of having come to the national conversation. I wanted to kind of get into it through the Lord's Prayer. But now with the BUT president saying, you know what, y'all, let's do our kids a favor. This is important. We must now introduce this transgender education into our classrooms. I thought to bring it here now.
See, this agenda has been pushed, I don't know if you remember, under
It's not an agenda.
Listen, this agenda has been
Natino
pushed,
will respond as soon as you're done.
pushed from the Obama and Hillary. Remember when they were forcing the African nations to adopt homosexuality or they want to cut aid?
Well, the African nations have been saying,
and so they're pushing back, keep your aid.
They say keep your aid and everything
and
else.
then when Barack Obama was the first president, one of the first presidents went to Jamaica. You think he went to Jamaica to sing? He went to push the homosexual agenda, telling them that they must embrace homosexuality or else. And this is the agenda: embrace it or else. Or else what? We can stop aid. We can stop this. We can stop people from coming to your country. Now, listen. If you want to be homosexual, that's fine with you. You could be it all you want. If America wants to be homosexual, that's fine. But don't tell me I got to be it because you it. No.
Nobody's telling you have to.
That's what they saying, buddy.
They're not saying that.
That's what they saying. You must can't help.
You're lying.
You deep in it.
You're lying.
You deep in it.
But you're lying.
They are pushing an agenda
Also,
down our children's throat, and I will not stand for it.
Here's the thing, right? Cassius, I don't know if you're trying to shame me, but what
I gotta shame you for, buddy?
Because you just said that I'm in it. That's not.
And you say you're homosexual?
Hold up. I am queer.
What that is? What that mean?
Read.
I don't know what it means.
Google it.
Tell people
Google it.
Google it.
Google it. Right.
Tell me what it means.
Here's what I would say.
I don't know what it means.
Here's what I would say. This is not an agenda, right? And you know, if you're gonna take the route that Cassius is taking by conflating all of these issues together and muddying the whole thing that's happening.
The whole thing. I tell you the
and
truth.
lying, because that's what you're doing,
Tell
right?
me why I lie.
You're lying.
Tell me why I lie.
You're
buddy.
lying because you're making.
Tell me why I lie. Obama and Hillary pushed it down. If you have any sense, you use the same Google. Obama and Hillary pushed this agenda.
Wait a minute, Cassius and Natino, I want you to speak to each other, but no.
We having a dialogue. We having a dialogue.
No, but don't say if you have sense.
Listen, we having a dialogue.
I don't want it to go there.
Oh, okay, sorry, I apologize for that. Obama and Hillary pushed this agenda down the African throats, right? If we don't embrace homosexuality, they went to Kenya, they went to Nigeria, they went to several African states, and the African leaders say, we will not embrace it. Homosexuality is alien to our culture. This is the argument.
That's a lie.
Let him finish.
That's a lie.
Let him respond.
That is a lie. That is a lie. And if you would if you would actually do a historical research, LGBTQ plus people have always existed. They've existed before we were an independent nation in 1973.
I talking about
I talk about here though. I talk about here though. I'm talking about the Bahamas.
Listen.
I'm talking about the Bahamas.
I was talking about
I'm talking about the Bahamas.
The Bahamas.
LGBTQ plus people have always existed in the Bahamas. They've existed everywhere around the world. America's not pushing an agenda because there's no agenda to push. What we are asking for as LGBTQ plus people is for the fullness of our rights.
What rights?
Our rights. What you talking about?
You're a Bahamian. You get every right I
First
have.
and foremost,
what rights you want?
First and foremost, if we go,
every right I have.
I don't want to.
No, you don't. No,
what rights
I do not have the right to get married. I do not have the right to get married.
You marry a man?
I do not. And if I want to do that, I want to do that.
That ain't happening
Well, then guess
to the
what?
Bahamas.
And
You
watch
go to
this.
Canada for that, but they ain't
That
happening
is
here.
the denial. That is the denial.
You could go to
that attitude is the denial of my humanity. That is the denial of my rights. I have the right.
We are a Christian nation, buddy.
Well, did I not let you speak?
Cassius, let him speak, please. I want Natino to speak.
So here's this thing, right? If I want to get married to a man, I should get married, right? But that's not even the biggest issue. Transgender people in the Bahamas in particular don't have access to health care.
What you mean?
They don't have
can't
access.
go to the hospital?
Wait. They do not have access to health care.
In terms of queer government, you said it's a queer government in the Bahamas, you ain't got access to it.
Gender affirming care. It is still difficult.
Hold
It is still difficult.
Hold on.
Let him finish first, then you can respond. Because I don't understand. Go ahead.
But that's the truth.
You know what gender affirming care is?
Hang on, Cassius.
Let them know what gender affirming care is. It sounds pretty.
No,
but it's telling young boys that they could be girls.
Oh,
that's what gender affirming care is.
Oh, to pay for the surgery.
Yes.
No, that's not it.
Gender affirming care means that you could tell
That
young
is not
boys that they could be girls and young girls they could be boys. That's what it means.
Cassius, let Natino finish.
Gender affirming care deals with access to hormonal treatments.
Same thing.
And, if necessary...
Well, hold on now, Nantino.
Wait, hold on. But let me finish, though.
Let me finish. If you open your mouth one more time,
Sorry.
just one more.
I tell you my heart beating fast.
Wait a minute, Nantino. Now, 2 states that I know of just last week stood up against that. Do any of you remember that? In the U.S., I'm talking about that they will not support little boys 8 years old and girls getting any sort of hormonal treatment. What's up? Y'all going to a break? Y'all, I tell you these two in here. They will not support any little boy or little girl in their states having access to treatments to change their sex. And so this is what I tell you, a number of people, yes, the United States in general, but there are several individual states that are pushing back. We are going to take a break. I don't want us to lose where this debate is. The debate truly is, should children who are kindergarten age, children who are primary school age, be exposed to this now?
They're already exposed.
We're going to take a break and come back with more Beyond the Headlines after this.
You know, I gotta stay. I told y'all, man, it's gonna be something. I'm looking at this sister. This is something else. I'll tell you, this is something else. But you hear this dude on the left-hand side, you know, he get excited. He's like, and I'm trying to tell you that, you know, I'm like, dude, what you going up on the end of all your words? But you see, the one thing I want to point out when he said, you know, we don't have access. See, that's the lie they tell you. That's the lie they tell you, that we don't have access to health care. No, yes, you do. You can go if you get sick, if you break your leg, if you get scraped, if you get a sickness or an illness, you can go to the same hospital that I have access to. So what are you talking about? And then he said, well, it's hormonal treatment. Okay, so basically you want access to care that, or let's say air quote care, that's going to change the genetic structure, basically, you know, or change the physiology of a person that want to be a man or want to be a woman. That's what you're talking about. You see how they just slip all that little extra in there and try to make, so no, don't be falling for that. Anyway, let me go on back. Let me continue on. I don't want to mess it up here. Hold on. Let me get this. Hold on. Let me see all right. They doing that little commercial thing there. I'm just fast. There we go.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. This segment that we're talking about, last segment and now this one, we're talking about, is it time the Bahamas introduce transgender education in Bahamian schools? Well, BUT President Belinda Wilson says yes. Wilson was a guest speaker at a Rotary meeting last week. She was asked that question, and she said, and I'm reading it, Belinda, just so that you and I don't be vexed. So let me just read your words. And so Belinda says, I addressed a question that was asked by a Rotarian. I stand by my views. We should teach our children so that they can be prepared for life. They will leave home and they will travel to countries that have laws and policies on transgender, and they should be educated on the pros and cons of it. And so that is what she feels like. Sure, educate them, expose them, because they understand it fully. Nitino Thompson, a part of tonight's Hot Topics panel, agrees. He said, why can't kids as young as kindergarten ages be exposed to another person's truth? You feel, Nitino, what? Just like Belinda, just like Miss Wilson, that is for education?
Yes. I mean, Belinda's like that is the progressive kind of thinking that we need. And I'm glad she's always been at the forefront. Again, I can't wait to have a conversation with her because legit, right? No, we need to have one because she understands. She understands where the country needs to go. This is about the future generations of Bahamians. You have to expose children to another person's kind of way or view of the world. The truth of the matter is that we have LGBTQ plus people in this country. And also denying LGBTQ plus people or children.
Transgender.
Well, it's not just transgender. We don't, in the Bahamas, we don't, you talk about transgender education, that's queer education. That should be included in comprehensive education.
I don't know where you look at for queer, but I looked up queer a minute ago when you said, oh, do you know what it means? And I looked it up. And
I know what it means, but I told you on the show what it means.
It's not flattering. Okay, but let me read.
You're reading this, but I'm
reading the traditional dictionaries.
It was once a slur, but it's been reclaimed. See,
you're reclaiming everything. You take our rainbow.
Hold on, wait. In the same way,
you take our rainbow.
In the same way that the N-word has been.
That's God rainbow.
Hold on, wait. In the same way.
That's what I mean.
In the same way that the N-word has been reclaimed by black people. Language is not static. It's always moving. And so a word can be reclaimed. I've told you on the show that queer.
But then if you're
queer
is. Tell me what it means.
I've already told you what queer means.
I don't know what it means. Tell me. I am ignorant, you know.
Well,
in this regard.
I don't have the definition with me, so you don't.
I have the definition.
Well, that's not the definition that I use for queer. That's not it. That's not it. Even if I knew you were about to get there, but that ain't it. That ain't it, Shanique. And I ain't gonna let you do that.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying.
I ain't gonna let you do that.
If that's not it,
No. That's because I told you that's not the definition.
I'm not saying it.
Hold on, watch this. Now I have you could go back to on a show with Shanique. You could go rewatch that. I said it there. That's the definition that I use. I don't have it in front of me, and so.
But how you know what Cassius? If
you didn't know what you is and you something.
No, but I told you what it was. Queer has to deal with the fact that you reject the categorizations of cis hetero society or heteronormative Bahamians, and the fact that you want them to also acknowledge the fact that you exist, but you exist outside of the binary. So, for example, my gender is I'm non-binary or gender non-conforming. I don't fit within the man scheme fully, the box that you all check off in the Bahamas. I don't fit within the whole woman box. I am in between. I'm ambiguous. So watch this. Wait. Right? Wait. Queerness has to deal with the fact that there are people who exist outside of those two boxes, and they deserve their humanity respected and acknowledged. That's all that it is.
So my question is, do you have a vagina or you have a penis?
I'm not gonna answer that.
That's a simple question.
I'm not gonna answer that.
It's a biological truth.
Hold up, I'm not gonna answer that.
The biological truth is
I'm not gonna answer that.
Don't ask him that. Don't ask him that. Don't ask him that.
I have a penis. I have a penis. I know I have a penis because when I woke up this morning, I saw it.
Why does having a vagina or penis matter?
Because
if you
have a penis, you're a man.
The only time that matters if we're going to bed, and unless you want to sleep with me, I'm not going to answer that question. So don't answer. Do not. Hold on. Listen to me.
This is the question. Science teaches you. Science teaches you. I don't get what he say, right? I don't get what he say, right? He just born 20-something years ago, right? Science teaches us that there's male and female.
Do I need to stand up here?
It is disrespectful.
Cassius, if you open your mouth.
It is disrespectful.
Am I wrong or what?
I need you to be quiet.
Are you have a doggy or you have a grabby? One of the two.
Shut up.
Cassius,
no. You be quiet. Go ahead, Nintendo.
The whole argument, right? Cis people, cisgendered, heterosexual people, they're obsessed. They are obsessed with genitals. And you have to understand that gender is not about sex.
What you thinking about sex? What is it about?
Cassius,
gender is about the way that you see the world.
I asking him a question. Gender is weird. Gender is whether you're born male or you're born female. You have to come with all this fancy thing. We know what gender is. I am a male. I am a man.
Sex is male or female.
I am a man. A man.
But you're conflating
she is
sex
a woman.
and gender.
She is a woman. She have a vagina. I have a penis. Male, female.
Having a vagina does not make you woman.
When the earth was created, there was male and there was female.
Having a vagina does not make you a woman.
We know the story of Adam and Eve. I need to be quiet.
Adam and Eve. The only way the earth can continue is me and Shanique, male and female, get together.
A woman.
If we leave it up to you, the earth will come to an end.
Listen to me.
A vagina.
Do you know that if we leave the earth in your hands, the earth will come to an end?
Cassius, I need you to shut up. If you open your mouth one more time, if I hear your mouth.
Having a vagina or a penis does not make you a man or woman.
What does it make you?
Gender is a performance.
You all come up with this.
No.
You all create
No.
this. We ain't know nothing but this.
Leave him to me. He had a dog
Listen, I older than you, buddy. I older than you. I've been to many universities, and they ain't never tell me this. You just come up with this.
You never researched this.
You just come up with this nonsense. I ain't know nothing but that. I ain't know nothing but that. Don't come with this new kind of talk.
You don't read.
I read, listen,
You don't
I've
read.
read more than 5,000 books in my life.
Cassius.
How much you read?
Cassius.
And I never read nothing
Watch
but the
this.
foolishness you
Watch
talking
this.
about.
Wait. Watch this.
Come in front of
Out of
All
all
the
the books,
foolishness you
right?
talking about. I
Watch
ain't
this.
never read that.
Have you ever read Bell Hooks?
Who?
Have you ever read Bell Hooks?
I don't read them crab books though. I don't read them crab books.
Hold up.
I don't read them books. I don't read the books where they teaching 6-year-old boys how
So
to
wait,
get
hold on, wait.
another male
Y'all heard it,
blowjob.
hold up. Y'all heard it, right?
Kind of things.
Hold up. He reads, but he just doesn't read about queer people.
No.
So
What
how,
are you reading for?
so how can you say that I'm making
I
this
don't
up?
I don't even want that
Watch
in
this.
my subconscious mind.
Hold up, you've never read.
I don't even want that
Hold up,
around
you've
me.
never
I don't want that around my children.
Hold on.
I don't want that in behaving schools.
I want to
I
ask
don't
you
want
this
that.
question.
Hold up. You read the Bible though.
Latino.
Hold up, you read the Bible though.
Latino,
55 times.
Hold up, wait, and you read that Jonathan loved David though.
Listen to me.
No. Listen.
That's what you read though.
Don't come with that
That's what you
nonsense.
read though.
Don't come with that nonsense.
That's what you read though.
You're queer people trying to
You read that though.
Trying to make David a sister.
You read that there.
David's been more man than you, more man than your daddy, and more man than your granddaddy. I can stand up for King David. Even though he loved Jonathan, he was never a sissy.
He loved him more than a woman,
But
right?
he's never a sissy. But you see, you're looking for acceptance. Ain't nobody accepting that nonsense. But guess what? There was a country.
Let's take a break.
You read that? There was a country with LGBT.
Let's take a break.
You read that though.
Sodom and Gomorrah was LGBT.
What if I told
Hold
you?
on. Hold on. Let me see if there's anything else on that. Hold on. Let me see. I don't know if she said, is there anything else to this segment? Hold on.
This, because, hey, we must see exactly where the BUT presidents, what her opinions, where they lead and what people are thinking, but certainly, of course, as well on the most sacred Our Father prayer and the move by the Anglican Church.
All right, so I'll stop there. All right, so yeah, that's it. Woo! Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. That right there. And that's how they get down over there a lot. I'm talking about in these other, like not only in the Caribbean, but also like in African. I've seen some African news broadcasts. It's amazing. They really don't get a whole lot of views. I mean, the views are very low. I'm talking about like these different African or Caribbean news broadcast platforms. They don't get a whole lot of views on YouTube. And but man, I tell you, it's really something. They be going in, and it's not something that you will typically see in the West, So we're very grateful for that. And man, there's a whole lot, of course, we can pull out of that. One thing that I will say is this. Is when these people tell you that it's not about sex. He's talking about it's a performance. Yeah, it is a performance. You're absolutely right. You're right. It is a performance. But when you try to make it seem as if it has nothing to do with sex at all, let me explain it in a very basic way. All right. Now, when I identify myself, when I go to a store, right? When I go somewhere, I will, someone said African news channel is savage. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, we be missing out on a lot. But anyway, when I go somewhere, I'm talking to someone, if I'm meeting someone or whatever, I'm going to introduce myself, my name, and then that's it. I don't have to tell people, well, I'm a man. I never have to identify myself as a man. I think that's implied, right? And it's understood. So or let's take it a step further. I never have to go and say that I am heterosexual. I never have to tell you that. Why would I have to tell you I'm heterosexual? Why do I have to tell you that? Because what that implies is that, okay, if you're heterosexual, that means that you are what they would call or consider someone that's straight. In other words, you believe in, if someone's going to have sex, you have sex with someone who is a female that's opposite of you, right? So that's what's implied when someone says a heterosexual. Nobody that is a heterosexual will ever introduce themselves as a heterosexual. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, someone who's living in the LGBT XYZ construct, They're the ones that will say, my pronouns are this, and this is my, I'm cisgender. That's another word for heterosexual. But, I'm bi-gender or whatever, this, that, or whatever. They will always introduce themselves based on their sexual preference. In other words, what they prefer to do in the bedroom. So by default, you are bringing in what you are doing in the bedroom in every conversation. I don't care what you do in the bedroom. I don't want to know what you do in the bedroom. That's none of my business, nor do I want it. I want it to be my business. I have no interest in what you do in the bedroom. But this is what we're talking about as far as when these people say, well, we're not forcing ourselves. Oh, yes, you are. By the mere fact that you're wanting the world to call you or to address you based on what you do in the bedroom, that is forcing yourself on me. Words are pictures and pictures are words. So when I'm come across someone and they say, yeah, my name is whatever, and I'm a homosexual. Well, when you tell me that, or you got a little pin or you got a little shirt, then by default in my mind, when I'm talking to you, guess what else is in my mind? Now I'm talking, whoever your name is, let's say your name is Bobo, whatever. Now I'm got to wrestle. I'm like, dang, okay, so this guy is gay. Okay, all right, so he gets down like that. And I'm here talking business. Maybe I'm sitting there, I want to talk about, okay, how we going to buy this land over here? You know what I'm saying? I want to buy this land. That's all I'm here for. I'm here to do business. I'm here to talk about buying land. Why do I now have to wrestle with not that I'm struggling or nothing like that. That's not it at all. But I'm saying when you bring that into the conversation, that's a whole nother thing. I ain't coming here thinking about that. I got to spend half the conversation. Okay, let me get this out of my mind. Now I got to think about that. Why is that in the conversation? You understand what I'm saying? So that's what they do. That's what this whole thing is about, is using language as a way to infiltrate every conversation and to take over every conversation, everyone. And this is where we got to understand where we got to draw the line on this stuff. You understand? And so it's very encouraging, even though this was a very, I love this conversation. I love this kind of conversation because, and the thing you could tell too is after the cameras went off, they probably were like, laughing about it. Not in the sense of it was all show. I ain't talking about that at all. In other words, as a people, we can go hard on each other like that, but at the same time, there is at the end of the day, we have respect. And that's what some of these African leaders were saying. They say, hey, listen, what we're saying is that stops at the gate. Now, we respect people. We're going to respect people, in terms of, as a human being. Now, mind you, they got that other stuff going on, other things they got to address over there. You understand what I'm saying? That's a whole nother conversation. But my point is, they'll say what they're saying, the basic of what they're saying is, hey, we'll respect people, as a human being, just like anybody else, like I said, when I go in the store, if I see someone and they look like, okay, like, you'll see some people over here, like, some of these women be looking kind of hard around here. And you could tell, it's like, okay, I already know you looking real hard. You ain't Mr. Grandma, you unctie, you ain't auntie, you unctie. You know what I'm saying? And so when you see, so you see all of that, it's like, okay, cool. All right, let me go get my stuff and I'm going to keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I ain't like, ew, stay away from me. I ain't make no big, we just go about our lives and go about our business. But what these people want to do is to take it even further and to get that word picture in your brain and see, that's what we fight against. That's really where the fight begins, is here. I don't want to know. Why does this nation have a national day to celebrate people that want to dress up like that? To celebrate what people do in the bedroom? I don't care. I don't want to know. I'm old enough to remember years ago where they said, the government needs to stay out of our bedroom. They don't have any business to be in our bedroom. Now you saying, screw that. We're going to open up the bedroom and the first people we want in our bedroom are the children. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're saying. And so I'm glad to see all over the diaspora, our people. Mr. Grandma. That's right. But anyway, to see our people, you know, lining up and standing up and saying, oh, no, we ain't going for that. And so that's why, again, in the beginning of this broadcast, I had to go all the way back to show you how this deception began. And I had some other videos, which I'm not going to play. It was some Ugandan people who are living in England, and they're doing a protest, and they're protesting against the Ugandan government and saying, how dare you take this stand against us? We feel so persecuted and all this other stuff. That's what they're saying over in England. Well, it makes sense because England, that's where you're getting indoctrinated. But the people in Uganda, they're just like, man, nah, okay, keep all that energy. That's why you're behind us over there in the first place. Stay over there. But like I said, again, let me be clear. As a people, do we have our own other issues that we got to address? Absolutely. But when it comes to creation, because see, right now what we're dealing with is a destructive force that's trying to wipe out as many people as possible using every means necessary. I don't have to go into details on that one. And right now we are at the almost the last part of this whole thing. And that is, once again, they realize that in order for this whole agenda to be completed, once again, we face with these black folks again. We face with these black folks again because they're the one, because now if we can convince these black folks to completely buy into this, then it's going to be smooth sailing from here on out. And I saw someone say something, we need to be talking more about economics and that. This is all tied together. This is all tied together because once you take this out of the equation, once we bow down to this, then it's a complete wash after that. You understand what I'm saying? And so my hat's off to our brothers and sisters. And so that's why you see the title, whatever I titled this. But I do believe, and I'm very hopeful, and I'm asking myself, I'm saying, could this be the one thing that will be used to help unite us across the diaspora and even on the continent? Could this be the one thing? My hope is that it will be. Because like I said, again, these people understand who was here in the beginning, the first people. They understand that. And now they have to, and you got literally world powers. You got the United States and their gang trying to threaten Africa and telling them, listen, and the Caribbean, listen, if y'all need to bow down to this agenda. And then you got the military, I brought that up as well. And then on the other hand, you got Russia and China, who honestly, like I said, again, they got their own issues too. So I ain't gonna sit up here and act like they're our angels in disguise. Oh, no. They got their agenda too. But Russia and China has made it very clear on where they stand on this issue when it comes to LGBT. They ain't really down like that with the whole LGBT. They'll tolerate it a little bit, but they ain't pushing it. And just think about that. Now, goofy Kamala Harris, do you think she will go to China and talk to that president and say, hey, listen, you need to get in line with the, they ain't sending her because listen, don't be fooled. Listen, them folk be laughing at her. I mean, I was telling my wife yesterday, I said, they sending Kamala to Africa. I mean, what do they think gonna happen? I mean, like there's some power there. I mean, no, nobody's taking you seriously. No. They just said, you know what, we'll send you to Africa. And as far as China and stuff going, we'll handle that. Because we know ain't nobody gonna take you serious. So you got Goofy 1 and Goofy 2. You got Biden, it was a video that was of him the other day up there. And he literally had someone walking alongside him. Okay, Mr. President. So right now, coming up, there's going to be a blue line, and you need to make sure you put your left foot on the first line and your right foot on the other line. And then you need to turn over there, and there's going to be a man standing in blue, and that is the guy. literally got to tell them everything. Now, Mr. President, I know you just had those beans earlier, so you want to make sure your butt cheeks are nice and tight and hold that stuff in because, see, we can't have another embarrassment right now, okay? Okay, yes, sir. All right, I'll do that. Whatever you say, all right. You know, all that. There's some little kids over there. Leave them alone now. You know, they got to tell the man everything. They literally got to tell this man everything, what to do and what not to do. And then Kamala Harris, she just be laughing at some of the most crazy stuff. It'd be something serious going on, and she'd be like, be laughing, and I'm like, says everybody be like in the room, like, okay, that ain't funny. I mean, what's wrong with you? Be cracking up. So I just want you to understand. So them sending her to Africa, they ain't even being sick because they already know what they're dealing with. So in conclusion to this broadcast, like I'm saying, listen. When it comes to people who live this lifestyle, let me be extremely clear on this. Listen, I will treat you with the same respect that I treat everyone else until you give me a reason not to. It is very simple as that. That's it. I have no time in my day or in my night to be protesting online or on the streets. When it comes to what you do in your house, I don't care what you do in your house. But do not, let me be very clear. You keep your hands and keep your mouth and keep your bodies away from our children. Okay, let's make that very clear right now. Because what this dude was saying, that guy with the short hair, looking like Cubert. Some of y'all know from back in the day, Cubert, you know, he had that little thing up and looking like a Cubert. You know, this dude, what he's talking about, yeah, we need to teach the kids. The devil is a liar. No, we don't need to teach the kids that. Now, I know maybe some of your eyes weren't as quick to see as that woman was paging through some of that stuff, but that stuff is crazy. I mean, that's straight up. They don't need to know that. And someone said, why are you all heated about this? But when it comes to other sex, you're not. I was heated even with that. They don't need to know all that stuff. Lead that teaching to the parents. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the parents. They need to do that. Now, but here's the irony of it. Here's the irony. Hold on. Now, that book you saw that she was paging through, don't you know there are people out here that have that same stuff on their computers and they get arrested for it. They get arrested for having that same content on their computers. But if you teach it in a school, it's okay. Now, make all of that make some sense there. You can teach it in a school to children, but you can't have it on your computer. Make all of that make sense. That don't make any kind of sense. It don't make any kind of sense at all. But that's what they're doing. So where these people goofing the gang up in D.C., because you got some Negroes out here, too, that are pushing this stuff. Yes, sir. You got some Negroes out here, the Boule class, they're going right along with it. The Boule class, they're going right along with it, and they're pushing this stuff. And I'm telling you right now, you got to call all this stuff out. I don't care. So I've been done with, well, we need some black representation and all. Nah, because the reputation we have, they're about everything but black folks. And they've always made that very clear. But when it comes to our children, you keep your hands away from our children. You keep your face away from our children. And doggone it, you better keep all the way from our children with that foolishness. Because there are people here, not just here, but in the diaspora, all over, that's saying, nah, you take all of that, package it all up, and send it back to hell. That's the instructions. Number one, package it up, take it all up, gather it up, put it in a box, and then you can send it straight to hell, okay? Now, if you want to do a personal delivery with that, then be our guest, but do not come to our children with that foolishness. Keep it all away from there, because we're going to fight. And I'm very grateful to see that our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, this is why you see all of this stuff that's happening that's trying to divide us and trying to get us off center and trying to get us away from, trying to get us disconnected from our true history and who we are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Well, you ain't from no Africa, you from here. And I've talked about this before. Somebody, even, when I was talking about the whole Sephardic thing early this week, when I was talking about the whole Sephardic thing, if you haven't watched those videos, just watch those, knowing the history of that. Because I have to go in on that. You got Hebrews out here that's saying, we ain't African, we're Sephardics. And again, when you start digging into it, it is rooted in it's self-hatred at the end of the day. That's what it's rooted in. Because soon as you start asking questions, okay, what are the Sephardic traditions that you bring over? Well, I don't have anything. Okay, then you ain't Sephardic then. Why are you trying to embrace these folks? Don't you know the Sephardics, they're also responsible, largely responsible for the Kabbalic Jewish mysticism that also includes Kabbalistic teachings and also the tarot cards and stuff like that. Don't you know that Sephardic Jews were also part of that? Yes, Sephardic Jews were dark skinned and all of that. That's very true. Nobody's saying that's not the case. They were. But what I'm telling you is that they also sold your behind too. They bought and sold your behind too. And these freaking liars out here that are out here telling you this stuff, it's all part of a plan to separate you from who you really are as a people. And this is why in the beginning, I told you I had to go through that. I had to spend almost a lot longer than I wanted to go through your history, through your origin, to show you that your people weren't about that stuff. We were never about that stuff. Do I believe that as a people, there's something very unique and very special about us? I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe it. But what we ain't going to do up in here is that we ain't going to be sitting up here chasing around these other. We've too long been up here trying to find our identity with these people. And that's why I had to show you what the Greeks believed, what the Romans believed, and what the practitioners of Judaism, what they believe. And all three of them were all about that life. All of them were about that life. And they came into Africa and they saw we weren't done. Why do you think all of these countries are still holding on to African artifacts? Why do you think that? Has that ever occurred to you? Have you ever wondered that? I mean, you got countries right now that they ain't trying to turn any of that over. And I'm sitting up here scratching my head like, why you ain't trying to turn it over? Let me tell you, let me give you a hint. Because when you go through African artwork, in artifacts, when you go through it, you ain't gonna find the stuff that you see in Roman artwork, in Greek artwork, and in Jewish writings. You ain't gonna find any of that stuff. You ain't gonna find those 20 genders and all that stuff. You ain't gonna be finding no donkeys getting it on with a woman. You ain't gonna be finding no naked babies and stuff like that. You ain't gonna be finding that stuff in our artwork. That's why they hide it, because they don't want people to know, wait a minute, these people, we got to make sure that the world don't know anything about this stuff. We can't make sure that the people don't find out that as much as we've been saying that these people were ignorant and prehistoric and dumb and all of that, they actually were the foundation of this whole thing here. We screwed up. This is why we say you better know your history and you better be ferocious when it comes to people against anybody that want to come and try to add stuff to try to get you away from who you really are. And this ain't it. And so as long as they keep me on this platform here on YouTube, I'm going to keep on saying it. I'm going to keep on saying it. And they cut me off here, so be it, because everything we presented here was 110% facts. They want to go to the medical route, I can go right there with you. I've showed you images of everything, of what goes down in these rooms, in these hospital rooms, what they do to these children. You got 13, 14, 15-year-olds that's they forcing them to make decisions that's going to affect them for the rest of their lives. And we're supposed to be sitting up here like, well, hey, listen, it's okay. Well, that's just dumb people doing it. No, you got a lot of black folks that are falling for this stuff too. You know? So no more of these, no more of that. And we need to be loud when it comes to this stuff. Think about it. Even in our Bibles, they done put pictures of half-naked angels, angels that looking like they can go either way, naked babies and stuff like that. They don't put in there. And our minds, we just accepted it as, oh, that's just European art. You know, that's just how they see. No, that's their spirituality. Their spirituality includes that stuff. That's not right. There's nothing about that. That should be acceptable to you. If you got a Bible that got at least rip those pictures out. Because I ain't listening to no tranny angels. I'm sorry. That ain't me. Maybe you are. I ain't doing it. And I sure enough better see no white naked baby coming up in here. Talking about, oh, the Lord said, get out. Just get on out. Nope. Because the cops ain't coming here and catching me with this scenario, with this situation. So you just get on out. But I got a word for the Lord. Keep it moving. Keep it all the way moving. Keep it all the way. Go to the white people down the street. Let them help you. But keep it all the way moving. Because I ain't listening to no naked babies. No white baby. No, sir. Keep it right on moving. Keep it all the way moving. Don't be setting me up. You know what I'm saying? Don't be setting me up, man. Shoot. You got some angel coming up in here looking like that and half naked, and I got a word for the Lord. Well, you better keep it right on moving. But I'm being funny, but I'm also being serious too. You know that. Those paintings that you see that's their spirituality. That's part of their spirituality. That's what they believe. They believe that the spiritual realm, you're listening to forces that are bisexual. That's what they believe. These people, you may say, well, I don't believe it, but you're reading texts where it endorses this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So why would you want to be associated with any of that? I don't want to be associated with that. That's what y'all brought to us. We weren't about that. Again, do a Google search on African artifacts or African artwork. Do a Google search. Let's do it now. And then when I'm done, let's do it now. Let's do it right now so you can see for yourself. All right. So let me pull this up. I'm just going to do a search for African. I'll just say ancient African artwork. Just so you can see for yourself. All right, so look. Just look. Now, they got all the masks and stuff like that, right? Now, isn't it funny? These masks, they'll tell you. Now, I ain't telling you need to get a mask and put all in your house. Now, I ain't telling you that. Okay, because like I said again, we got our own things we got to sort through and all of that. But isn't it interesting that they will tell you that these masks, oh, it's witchcraft, it's dark, it's satanic, and you better leave it alone. But then you look at this stuff here, I'm supposed to be like, okay, that's normal. Oh, that's angelic. It's holy. It's beautiful. It represents the divine in all of us. This is okay. But naked people, that's okay. This dude got a whole bat in front of him. That's normal. But then I do a search for African artwork, ancient African artwork, and all I'm seeing is masks, basic statues, and then if you study some of these art pieces too, I mean, it ain't just people. I mean, when you really study this stuff, there's a lot of mathematics that are in this stuff. I mean, it's really deep. When you start digging into African artwork, it's really, it's deep, man. It's really deep. I mean, it ain't just, oh, that's a giraffe. Now, it'll be like a giraffe and, that got a whole, star constellation on his back or something. I mean, it ain't no joke. But see, they'll tell you in a moment, all this stuff demonic. You need to burn all this stuff. But this stuff here, we're going to put on all of our, and like Wanea said, a lot of these museums wouldn't even be in existence if they didn't have our stuff. A lot of these museums, most of their stuff is our stuff in there. Look at this. How much artwork you see in here where you got all kind of naked babies and all this stuff? I don't see any of that. None of that. But you got that kind of wickedness in their artwork, in their spirituality, and we're supposed to embrace that. Who the biggest fool at this point now? Hey, Jay Caston said the Greeks and the Romans have always been about that. Yeah, so why would I want to listen to their spirituality? Why would I want to take spirituality lessons from these people? Why? At least question the doggone stuff. But I still trust them, even though they beat the hell out of us and, they raped us and they, did all that stuff. I still believe they preserved our history, in this. Yeah, come on now. And if you want to know why the Catholic Church has for centuries has been having issues in this area of sexual perversion, it goes all the way, it's tied directly to their culture. And for those out there that will say Christianity is different, it's not Catholicism, stop saying that, stop associating the two. The apples don't ever fall far from the tree. This is why you see the same type of sexual perversion going on in the Kojic Church, in the Baptist Church, Assemblies of God. Oh yes, you do see this same kind of stuff going on, and these pastors and bishops be shuffling bishops and pastors all around and all that, and they be getting down with children. Nah. See, you are like your father, the devil, period. So don't even go there with us on that. Trying to make we're different. But you still doing the same thing they're doing. If you're still doing the same thing they're doing, then we got some problems here. You got to go to the root. What's the root? You're using the Judeo-Christian manual. Anyway, so family, that is it. We done. Okay, I told y'all it was going to be something tonight, wasn't it? So yeah, so this going to be up here too. We're going to leave this up here. So yeah, leave these folks all the way alone, y'all. And for our brothers and sisters that are out here and on these islands and on the continent and Central and South America, y'all keep holding strong, because you got some other brothers and sisters too that are right there with you. All right. And all the other stuff, it ain't perfect, we know. But on this right here, we can take a stand on, we can agree on. We ain't accepting this bull crap. You can take all of that, package it up. Like I told you, those shipping instructions. All right. You want the address, HELL. You can take it right down there, because we ain't going to have it up in here. OK. All right, family, we love you. You guys take care. Like I said, we love you enough to tell you the truth. You take care, and we'll see you again soon in the next broadcast. All right, take care.